and welcome to Your Coaching Journey, a podcast for doctors about coaching. Whether you're a coaching doctor, a doctor who is learning to coach, or a doctor who'd like to build coaching into your professional life, then this is the podcast for you.
Hi, I'm Helen Leathers, and with me today is my business partner and co-host, Tom Dillon. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Helen. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Good.
Looking forward to a podcast.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Yep.
What are we talking about today on the podcast?
Today we are talking about 5 dysfunctions of a team, or the 5 dysfunctions of a team.
Okay. Sounds like a happy topic.
It's great. It's a great topic. I love this topic.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. What do we need to know about this topic?
So, the 5 dysfunctions of a team, it comes from a book written by Patrick Lencioni, who's an American, I guess Italian-American, but from his name. So he's, a leadership expert. And he's a nice guy. I listen to his podcast sometimes.
And it's a theory or model that you can use in leadership.
Yeah, and the book, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, is a bit of a parable. It's a story about a team and how they kind of navigate change within the team. They've got a new leader, and it's quite a very accessible, easy to read story about leadership and team dynamics, but the model is used within that, or the model comes from that. So,
okay,
yeah, it does sound very negative, but it is really useful. So, and it's the way it is described is as a pyramid. Mm-hmm. So within the pyramid we have 5 dysfunctions, and the dysfunction that sits at the bottom of the pyramid, so is the biggest dysfunction, and underpins everything else or undermines everything else, is the absence of trust.
Okay.
So if we were to frame this positively, of the 5 behaviours of a successful team, maybe a bit wordier, isn't it?
Yeah.
We would say trust was a prerequisite for a successful team, and so the absence of trust is the dysfunction.
I see. Yeah.
And quite often, Patrick Lencioni would say that the absence of trust comes from a lack of vulnerability. Okay. So that being invulnerable, and people being very, no, I have to be tough and hold my ground and all of that stuff.
Be independent, maybe. Not lean on others, that kind of thing. Not ask others for help.
Or just not communicate helpfully within a team. Yeah. So if you imagine that you're working in a team and everyone is not trusting and not being willing to be vulnerable and share how they're feeling about stuff, their opinions on stuff, then that's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's, underpins everything else. And I think within the book, the kind of message is you need to get to know each other really well in order to build the trust. And if we think about the way that we train people, we actually have the perfect number, the optimal number of people for a team in our workshops. So we only have 9 on our team. And that's always seen as the perfect number for a team.
It's almost like we planned it.
Yeah. And yeah, in the early days, I wasn't sure what would work. And 12 seemed like a perfectly reasonable number, but it doesn't work in the same way. So 9 is perfect. Mm. And what having a small number like that allows you to do is to get to know each other well. And that's what happens on our course. We spend a lot of time getting to know the individuals that are there and getting them to bond. Not so much bonding with us because we're facilitating, well, they don't need to bond with us, but actually getting to bond with each other. And that's a really important and integral part of our course, that they become almost a team, that they're working together, supporting one another. But I think they only do that because they know each other really well. They've done a lot of sharing by the time they've finished the course. And actually, within a few weeks of starting the course, they've done a lot of sharing. But I think that's part of our secret. Oh, no longer a secret because I've just said it out loud on the podcast.
Said it, yeah. But we do get lovely feedback about, people saying, I didn't expect to leave this course with such good friends.
Yeah.
People still meeting up years later. And
Yeah, what I find quite reassuring is I don't think anyone else would just have 9 people on their course.
No.
Because there's a financial constraint to that, isn't there? People would want to make more money out of their courses.
Yeah.
So I've seen courses with 20 people on. It doesn't work.
My initial training, there was 50 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Well, I suppose it does in that I didn't bond with everyone, but I had some connection with a few people on that course.
But if we think about a team, so for a team to work effectively, 9 people is kind of the maximum you'd want, really.
Yes.
So, and obviously, a bit of storytelling, getting to know each other, but also maybe sharing personality preferences, and people being able to understand how you work, and to be able to trust in that.
Yeah.
So if you've got someone who is very planful, very organised, and has a plan and wants you to work the plan, but you're an ENFP, so you don't do planning, and you're very last minute, that would be really frustrating for the planning person.
Yeah.
But actually trusting that you will do it, even though it will be at the last minute, trusting that it will get done is really important.
Yeah.
And so being able to recognize each other's strengths and be able to work with each other's own ways of working.
And to recognize those as strengths instead of thinking, well, that's going to be a challenge for me. Yeah, how annoying. It's going to be, well, actually, that can be really useful to us in times when something surprises us.
Yeah.
We can use those last minute skills. Yeah.
So trust is either underpins everything or undermines everything. The absence of trust undermines everything. So that's the first dysfunction. And if we can get to that place that we trust each other, then everything else should be a lot easier. So the next dysfunction is the fear of conflict. So people not being willing to have the debates, the discussions, the arguments that will lead to a better outcome. And, there's a degree of creativity in the argument, isn't there? Being able to thrash things out, get things done. But it's often got to be done in a way that's helpful. No shouting and screaming. And so when I say conflict, I'm not expecting people to be shoving each other and
having fights.
Yeah. It's about, well, so the reason that Patrick Lencioni sees as the fear of conflict is due to a false harmony that might exist within the team. So everyone's, and when you get together, there's another lovely model, Tuckman's model of the forming, storming, norming, performing model. Yeah. So when we get together and we do a bit of forming, and that's kind of a nice space, everyone's getting on and go, how do we get on with each other? And we can see that on our training, don't we? Everyone comes in and everyone's very pleasant to each other. And then we do a bit of storming. We don't get a lot of storming on our, but in a team, you'd get because people are vying for position. So there's that bit of tension that comes, I want the window seat. That's sort of, but yeah, it's important. So there's a bit of storming and then that settles down. So everyone kind of knows the pecking order and they know where they are, hopefully. And then we get to the norming. So that just settles down. And then once that settles down, then we can get to performing. But that first bit of false harmony, people perhaps aren't, again, it's that trust thing, isn't it? People aren't willing to say what they think of other people and what they think of ideas that other people have got because they don't want to upset that false harmony that exists. So recognizing that actually some conflict is essential for things to move forward. We've got to have the discussion. We've got to have the debate to get to a point where everyone can agree and know what's happening. But if you don't have the debate and people aren't able to raise concerns, express their difference of opinion, then I think that's problematic. We want diversity of thinking within a team.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, then I think the team is lesser because it doesn't exist.
So that positive opposite would, in our good behaviours of a team, triangle would be, having those communications, having those conversations, debating. It's not necessarily conflict, but
again, conflict is a strange word, isn't it? But I think it is that being willing to disagree and in disagreeing, people not seeing you as being problematic and difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you always disagree, you might just be a bit contrary. But I think that's useful within a group.
Yeah.
And if you think about, we've done an episode on Eric de Bono's 6 thinking hats. The black hat is the one that disagrees with other people, and it's useful for everyone to put the black hat on and go, okay, what's the problem with the way we're thinking?
Yeah.
How can we dispute this and look at the opposite way of being? So I think that conflict is really important, and something that a lot of groups just aren't willing to get involved, because it does run the risk of someone saying, well, now you've upset me because you've disagreed with me. Yeah. And I think people are, and especially in this day and age where everyone seems to be a lot more sensitive, if someone's going, well, you've upset me, that's it. It's difficult to come back from that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got to try and find a way where the conflict can be had, the discussion can be had in a way that keeps everyone safe. So a degree of psychological safety is necessary, which is where the trust comes in. So back to trust and underpinning it all with some trust. And if the trust doesn't exist, then the conflict is probably going to end up with someone making a complaint because you've said something that they're not happy with.
So what's next?
So once we've had the conflict and we've agreed on what we're going to do as a team, then we can move forward. The next dysfunction is a lack of commitment. Now, it may be because we haven't had enough debate and enough discussion to keep everyone happy. And maybe people are just, it's a bit of an yes. So, when you ask people, are you happy with this? Are we all happy, all agreed? If someone's going, yeah, they're probably not.
Yeah.
Unless it's a hell yeah, they might not be. So there might be some more work to be done. But I think sometimes it can be, Patrick Lencioni would say that it's due to ambiguity, that maybe some not quite being clear about what it is that we're going forward with. And maybe some ambiguity about who owns what. So there may be tasks to be done as we go forward. Who's owning that task? When's it got to be done by? So people aren't necessarily committed because they're unsure. But I think the main reason that people aren't committed, and it may be a little bit of an ego thing, that someone is sitting there going, oh, who has disagreed, maybe. And they've had their chance to have their say, which normally is enough to allow everyone to feel consulted and feel, okay, well, I've had my say, but I'm on board. But I think there will still be some people that will say they're on board, but still think, nope, they've got it wrong. It's not, I don't agree. But unless you've got that commitment to move forward, then things aren't going to happen. So if you have divvied up the tasks, everyone's got something to do, come together again a week later, a month later, whatever, then if that commitment isn't there from everyone, then the project is going to start to fall down. If they haven't done their bit.
Yeah.
They weren't committed, so they've not done it. And I do get this for people that say, well, it's people aren't doing their bit and I'm kind of pushing and they're not doing it. And I say, well, what happens when they don't do it? And they go, well, it gets moved over to the next month. And so it can be a real problem and can really hold up projects when people aren't doing what they have supposedly committed to do in a previous meeting. Yeah. So I think the lack of commitment is definitely a dysfunction, maybe due to ambiguity, as Patrick Lencioni would say, but also I think due to the fact we haven't really got agreement from having the conflict. We've got people that are rebelling maybe, or being, what's the word? Disruptive maybe. I don't know, just difficult. But that suggests the trust isn't there in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having had the conflict, having decided on the way forward, having got everyone's commitment, coming back together, people haven't done what they said they were going to do. So the next dysfunction is the avoidance of accountability. So that's another lovely leadership, a definition of a team that I quite often use. Katzenbach and Smith have this definition of a team, and it's kind of a small number of people, blah, 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 blah. But one of the elements of it is who hold themselves mutually accountable. So whenever I have this discussion with groups about what a team is, they'll get, holding people, I don't think that's necessarily a thing. holding yourselves mutually accountable, that's the manager's job to hold you accountable. But actually within a team, I think everyone being able to go, hang on, this was what we agreed last time. You haven't done it. Or what? Let's talk about that. What are the reasons for it not being done? I think that's really important. And I think it is a really big missing. In my coaching, I see a lot of that where, okay, what happens when someone hasn't done? Well, nothing really.
But if you were part of the team not holding someone to account for what they've said they've done and then haven't, then that undermines the trust.
Yeah, definitely.
Goes right back to the bottom.
Yeah. Actions rather than words. So if they're not doing what they said they were going to do, so if you've all gone away with your actions and someone goes, yeah, I didn't do that. Yeah.
We're in this together. How can we? Yeah.
You are going to lose their trust if that's what you're saying. But I think, again, what quite often happens, again, because of the fear of conflict, people will go, okay, we'll get it done for next time. And I've seen that where it's just gone on for month after month. Yeah. People have gone, well, it just rolls on to the next month. I actually had it. Wasn't so much that, was it? I just need to think this through. With the Board of Trustees, where they wanted to make a decision about a building project. And I was one of the trustees and I didn't agree. And I couldn't see the sense in what they were suggesting. And they said, okay, well, let's leave it to next time. So, well, no, don't do that. Just take a vote. Yeah. And they were like, it was like 9-1. I was the only one that didn't vote in agreement. I'd had my say. We'd done the conflict thing. I still didn't agree, but that's fine. Like the vote was taken and we were all able to move on.
What did they think was going to happen next time?
Oh, you were just going to have another debate. I don't know what they thought, but I thought, well, this is crazy. Why would you carry on having the discussion? You need to make a decision. You need to take some action. So just vote on it. And I was perfectly happy that we'd had I think they expected me to, I don't know, walk out. I don't know. It was weird. Anyway, so I think, yes, that being able to say, hang on a moment, we all agreed this was going to happen and it hasn't happened. So what are the reasons? Let's do some root cause analysis. And if it is just someone isn't committed to what they've said they're going to do, then that is a problem, isn't it?
Yeah. But they have to be held accountable.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you were leading the team, managing a team, and someone wasn't doing what they said they were doing, and you were holding them to account, but there weren't any consequences, the chances are it's, again, just going to drift. So yeah, there have to be some consequences to inaction or, not honouring what you've said, what you have committed to. So Patrick Lencioni would say that the avoidance of accountability is due to low standards. I think that's more of a reason for people not performing in the way that they said they were going to. Mm-hmm. So if they haven't met their targets, maybe their standards, maybe they don't need to hit the targets for themselves. Maybe that's a false target for them. But I think it is just, it comes back to that lack of commitment.
Yeah. And maybe that fear of conflict as well. From the rest of the team.
Oh, yeah. No, from the rest of the team, definitely a fear of conflict. But from the person that's not performing, I think that could be a lack of commitment.
Yeah.
And maybe their standards are lower. Maybe they don't need to do, maybe they didn't feel they need to do what they said they were going to do. But then why commit to it?
Yeah. And
the final part, the final dysfunction is the inattention to results. So again, if you were in a commercial organisation, no, actually, within a medical world, it works. So if you are committed to certain targets, within a GP partnership, there will be targets to be met. Mm-hmm. And if you aren't doing your bit, then that's going to fall down. But it could be that you are doing your bit, you're just not paying attention to the rest of the practice. And the rest of the practice is falling apart. But you go, well, that's not my problem. I'm doing my bit. The rest of you need to sort that out. And yeah, we don't want to be rescuing and we don't want to be taking on more work than is ours. But there is something about the team either succeeds and fails based on the group performance rather than an individual performance. So you could be, I don't know, the best salesperson in the world, but if the production team aren't producing the stuff, then it's all going to fall apart. So we need to be paying attention to the whole team results and supporting everyone else as well.
Yeah. So quite a nice model. You've used it a lot by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I use it all the time.
We're going to put a copy of this in the show notes so our listeners can.
Yeah, it's quite a good visual. So it is something that you can, I do share it with people when I'm on course. I used it last week with someone, clinical director, just thinking about there's 4 people that work together and in a department, but they're different heads of different things. So they have to come together to discuss their stuff. And there probably is a lack of trust at the moment. So just being able to think about that, how can you build that trust so that you know that each one is acting for the group rather than for their individual element of the group, I think is a really useful conversation. And, that's where it would be useful to perhaps have a team coach where that is discussed. It's a facilitated conversation where everyone gets to discuss their concerns, their thoughts on it, to build that trust. Very difficult to build the trust without actually talking about trust and why it's not there. So, so sometimes it is about bringing everyone together, having a conversation. How do we want to be? So when we do our coaching program, one of the first things we do on our program is a bit of contracting amongst the people in the group. So there are 9 of them. They go off to breakout rooms and discuss how they want to be together. How do you want people to show up? What do you want to see from everyone else? How do you want to be able to show up?
And what do you not want to see as well? Yeah.
But just that, let's do a bit of contracting. How do we want to be as a group? And I think for teams, so for these 4 people with a clinical director, useful for them to actually have a discussion where they talk about how do we want to be as a group. So which builds the trust, and then if they've got the trust, then they can have the conflict, and then they can commit to how they're going to move forwards. They can all then make sure that everyone's accountable for what they've said they're going to do, and hopefully they get the results that they want to see. It's perfect. It is. There's a lovely flow to that, isn't there?
Yeah.
But you've got to start with the trust.
Yeah. So a really useful model for someone who is looking at coaching in the workplace, in teams.
Well, not necessarily coaching in teams, but I think coaching someone who is part of a team. Okay. Because for them, it might be, all of this is happening, and actually being able to show someone this and go, so where do you think you are in terms of trust within the team? Well, there isn't any. Okay, well, that's where we need to start that.
Yeah.
That for you, if you want to resolve this, you need to find a way to build that trust. And it might be an away day that everyone gets together and does some sharing.
Yeah.
And being willing to have those debates. I do quite often find people aren't. I mean, we did do a workshop, not a workshop, an away day with a team within a university once, and someone actually raised some issues that were happening, and no one wanted to talk about it. It just got put off to a later date. Okay, well, let's leave that for another time. Yeah, the trust isn't there at all. So yeah, it is a really good model.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
You're very welcome. I enjoy talking about it, as you could probably tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's probably a good point to stop. I think we've given that a bit of an airing. I don't know if there's much more to it. I mean, there is a book behind it, but I think that's probably enough.
Yeah. And we'll mention the book in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
So if anyone's listening who wants to have a read and follow up on that, they can do so.
Very good. Thank you, Helen.
Next time, I'm going to be interviewing one of our coaching doctors.
That's lovely.
Yes. So I will...
Who are we interviewing?
I am interviewing Dr. Hindatu Tukar. And she is in...
Nigeria?
She's in Nigeria, yes. So I'm really looking forward to...
She's lovely and she's doing fantastic work.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's one of our doctors who's trained in lifestyle medicine and also trained with us as a coach and doing some really special work. So I'm really looking forward to finding out how that's been working out for her since she qualified and how she's using her coaching.
Wonderful. I look forward to listening to that one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen.
See you next time. Bye
Bye-bye.
now.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.